Morning, peeps. I just realised that I've not done a video since the passing of Diego Maradona, arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest footballer of all time. Sad news. It was sad news a couple of days ago. I was on air and I was actually in the middle of a boxing show and I could see panic in the studio opposite me. I was like, what's going on, right? I was talking to people on the over the radio, so I was like, what's happening? And it was difficult to concentrate, and then it came up on my screen that I had to announce that Diego Maradona passed away. And it was weird because obviously I'm talking boxing, I'm really hype, I'm excited, and then I had to bring my tone right down to talk about Diego Maradona. And then I thought, you know what, no, let's not bring it down. Let's bring it back up again and let's celebrate his life, right? He lived life to the fullest. I mean, if you want to talk about living life, Maradona lived life and he enjoyed life. So let's celebrate his life. I've been watching so many clips in the last couple of days just because I've had to do so many shows talking about him. And what a player. Fucking hell, what a player. And you know when people talk, like obviously the conversation is now happening between, oh, is it him or is it Messi, Ronaldo or Pele? The thing about Maradona, which is why I'll say it's Maradona. And look, this isn't probably the time to have a debate about who the best is because I'm the biggest Ronaldo R9 fan as well. But I mean, to do it at the highest stage for Argentina in that 1986 World Cup, and that wasn't a good Argentina team, to go and play for Napoli. Like, for those of us that are young and don't understand what it means to go and play for Napoli, that's the equivalent of Messi or Ronaldo going to play for Newcastle and then winning the league, right? Not going to play for Newcastle and bringing over 100 other superstars. No, you just going to play for Newcastle and then you winning the league a couple of years later. That's what he done. He won 2 Scudettos, 2 Serie A titles with Napoli. Like, do you know what I mean? Stars don't do that nowadays, right? He could have gone, the big teams in that time were Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus, could have gone to any of those. No, Napoli. Like, imagine Messi going to Newcastle just by himself and winning the league a couple of years later with all the giants that are in the Premier League. It's unheard of. So, yeah, sad day, but let's celebrate his life rather than dwell in the past. Let's celebrate it because it was a fantastic life. And boy, did he enjoy it, if you know what I mean. All right, let's talk boxing. Let's talk Dubois-Joyce, final thoughts, Tyson Jones as well. Weigh-ins today for Dubois-Joyce. Dubois is a big man, but I don't know if you guys saw the face-to-face yesterday. Joyce like about 4 inches bigger. Joyce is a lump as well, looks in fantastic shape. I was speaking to Nick Pete from Fight Disciples, who's in the bubble, and he said Joyce just looks in great shape. We do know there is a problem with Joyce's trainer, Ismail Salas. He isn't going to be there because he's tested positive for COVID. So I don't know what's going on with the training setup. So that could be a problem. That would be, for me, more a problem for Daniel Dubois because of the inexperience. Joe Joyce, very experienced. Maybe not as a pro, but obviously long amateur career. So I think he can handle it. I don't know who's going to be in the corner with him, but I do think he can handle it regardless. So yeah, that fight goes down tomorrow. The more people I speak to, I've spoken to Andy Clark, Sky commentator. I've spoken to so many different people now. And I think more people are leaning to Joe Joyce, which isn't a stain or anything on Daniel Dubois. I just think most people are thinking, wait a minute, the Brian Jennings win, the amateur background. It's not like he's small either, right? A lot of people are talking about Joe Joyce's size and strength and power. I mean, you could equally say Joe Joyce has those things as well, size, strength and power, but Joe Joyce just has a bit more experience. I mean, obviously in the amateurs, I don't know what to call it, that almost, I'm going to call it that kind of step before pro where they wear no headgear. Obviously they don't wear headgear in the amateurs, but back then when they wore no headgear, he's fought the likes of Hrgovic and Usyk and a lot of these guys, right? Tony Yoka a few times. He's beat Tony Yoka in the amateurs. He beat Hrgovic in the amateurs. So he's it's not just his pro stuff. He's got some good wins against guys in the amateurs as well. Very, very good wins. So I'm going Joe Joyce as well, but should be a fun fight. Credit to both. I have spoken about the fact that both of them are taking a massive pay cut. Massive. I spoke to Sam Jones, Joe Joyce's manager, and he reiterated that as well. Like, this was going to be on pay-per-view. This was going to be in front of 20,000. That cut of money had to come from somewhere, and it's come from them. Right? Both of those guys just want to get it on, and the winner will go on to do massive things in 2021. The loser will have to start again. If it's Daniel Dubois, no problem. I mean, Eddie Frank's got loads of opponents within Europe that you can build up Daniel Dubois. There are so many fights that you can build up Daniel Dubois. If Daniel Dubois loses, it really isn't a problem. Obviously, if he wins, he catapults himself into, I don't want to say superstardom, because I don't think he's got that casual following, but you know what I mean. He puts himself in a position where everyone's going to be like, whoa, especially if he stops Joe-Joyce. But if he loses, what is he, 22, 23? I think might be even 21. No, I think 22, right? If he loses, no problem. Then you just build him back up again. No problem. It's how you recover from a loss, and it's how he lost. If he gets battered round after round, then obviously there's a bit of a problem there. But if he just gets knocked out, this is heavyweight boxing. If Joe-Joyce loses, then obviously it's going to be a problem, because he's 35. No one's going to want to give him a voluntary shot at a title. So he's going to have to work his way back up and just take risky fights for low money just to get himself back in a position. But good luck to both, and credit to both for putting this fight on. This fight for me is arguably one of my, and I said this before, one of my top 10 fights I've been looking forward to this year. It really is a mouth-watering fight for British fight fans, and I hope for world fight fans. I hope they can understand the importance of this. It should be a good one whilst it lasts. I don't expect this one to go 12. Who knows, but I don't expect it to. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. I've gone from that excited about it to like that. I mean, I was like everyone when we all saw these clips. I mean, I sat here on this chair and said, like, Mike Tyson comes back, it's going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys. I was very excited. I was like, my God. Like, you know, I know that they were edited 20-second clips. I know they were sped up a little bit. I know all the tricks of the trade. I get it. The little background music, everything was fantastic. Trust me, a team put that shit together. But regardless, I was hooked. It hooked me. And then they were starting to talk about opponents, and I was like, okay. And then people were literally starting to talk about him beating people like Dave Allen. Like, he can come back and smash Dave Allen. I was like, you need to calm down. You need to, like, there's gym shape. Trust me, that I know this. There's gym shape, and then there's fighting shape. There's two different things altogether. Mike Tyson is in gym shape right now. There's a reason that this exhibition fight is 8 rounds and 2 minutes, because 3 minutes he'll be blowing out of his arse. So we need to calm down a bit. So yeah, I've gone from being super excited in August, I think that's when it started to all come out, to very like, now as we approach December. I think Roy Jones took that excitement up again, just because I'm a massive fan of Roy Jones, arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time. Honestly, right? If Roy retired after John Ruiz, like if he said done, he could have gone down as the greatest fighter of all time. Like if he retired as a heavyweight champion coming up from middleweight, but he didn't. He carried on, and it's a sad way, the way in which he ended a couple of those defeats. Although I think he won his last 4 or 5. But yeah, the excitement has tailed off somewhat. There was talk about them not being able to knock each other out. There was talk about them, if it's a cut, then the fight's off. But Triller, the promoter, have said that no, that's rubbish. You know, this is a legit fight. You can knock each other out, and I think that makes sense, because that was stupid, right? I mean, like, if the red mist descends on Mike Tyson, and look, it's still in him. It's still in him. I don't care what anyone says. If the red mist descends, you think Tyson's going to be like, I can't knock you out. If Roy Jones does what I think Roy Jones is going to do, which is almost take the piss a little bit and run around the ring, the red mist will descend with Tyson, and Tyson will try and take his head off. But I'm going to watch the fight. I'm doing something for Talk Sport. I'm doing a watch-along / commentating on it with Spencer Oliver and Andy Clark, I believe, as well. So look, I'm obviously interested in it. I think everyone who's a boxing fan is interested in it, just because it's Mike versus Roy. I mean, geez. But it has my excitement for it has dwindled a lot. Again, if that fight kicked off in August or even September, I would have jumped on it. And I think they've missed a beat. I don't know what they were waiting for. Roy said he was good to go. I think it was more Tyson's side. Whether or not it be Tyson getting into more better fitness, or they used the excuse that they wanted to capitalize on sort of the market at the time, pay-per-view. And I think not capitalised at all. All right, let's have a look at some news before we pack up. Thingy tonight, isn't it? Daniel Jacobs at Rosado is tonight. Jacobs, this is the last fight of his deal with Matchroom, that 6-fight deal with Matchroom and DAZN. Matchroom US, and DAZN. He's done well. Let's be honest, he must have made some good money out of this deal, I tell you. There's some decent fights and some big fights as well, so he's done well. He's not going to complain. He's 33 now, Daniel Jacobs, so he'd want to get another big contract, which takes him to 35, 36. This is when you start talking about that pension money, as some fighters like to call it. He's outlined a few fighters that he wants to fight, top of the list. He said he wouldn't mind fighting the winner or loser of Canelo, Callum Smith. If it's Canelo, he's not going to get that fight, obviously. If it's Callum Smith, who knows, might get that fight, right? There's still that Matchroom link there, so he might get the fight. He's also talked about fights like Billy Joe Saunders. Obviously, Billy Joe Saunders fighting Martin Murray. He mentioned Charlo. He mentioned Andrade. So, look, he knows there are options out there. He can't make 160 anymore, so whoever wants to fight him, that is a 160 fight. So Charlo and Andrade, they're going to have to come up. But I don't think they're going to have a problem coming up because it is a big fight. Although, Danny Jacobs has no belt. So he might want to look. He's still advised by Al Heyman. So he might want to look at maybe fighting someone on that side of the road. Maybe Caleb Plant's got a belt. And I think Caleb Plant's looking for a big name as well. Caleb Plant needs a standout fight. He's there. And I respect him as a fighter, but he's almost in the Andrade thing of you haven't really fought anyone of note yet. There was talk about the Benavidez fight. That don't know what's happened with that. Well, I do. Benavidez struggled to make weight and lost his belt. So, I don't know. But it'll be good to see this fight. It's going to be a fun fight. I expect Jacobs to win, but I expect Rosado to do what Rosado does and give him some good rounds. Rosado did look a bit soft, I thought, at the weigh-in. Obviously, Rosado's at 168. He looked a bit soft. In fact, he looked very soft. Go and see the photos. So, I don't know, man. I think 160 is still his division, but it's a big money. Well, I say it's a big money fight. It's a money fight. You got to take these opportunities when they come. So, yeah, good luck to both. Should be a good one. All right, what other quick stuff have we got? Yeah, I want to clarify something. I made a mistake in the GGG video. I mentioned and said GGG versus his opponent, Zaramata, I think the name is, won't do any sign-ups. Why didn't DAZN just put it on the same card as Canelo versus Smith? I take that back. Obviously, with DAZN launching globally, it will do sign-ups because they are launching in territories now where GGG has a lot of fans, especially Eastern Europe. So it probably will do sign-ups, and it makes sense now for them to split it. So yeah, that's I take that one back 100%. What else do we have here, peeps? Before we Yeah, Ben Davidson here saying that. Ben Davidson and Zab Judah, who Zab obviously knows Mike very well. Remember that famous incident where Lennox Lewis and Mike are going at it, and Mike turns to the crowd and, talks about, anyway, you know what I'm talking about, where he goes mad, loses it. Zab's standing right next to him. So Zab and Mike have always been close, and he's saying that Mike is going to inflict pain on Roy Jones. Jeez. It's fun, isn't it? I mean, that's all it is. It's fun. Look forward to it. We'll see. Fight tomorrow as well. Should be a fun one, this one. Tony Yoka versus Christian Hamer. Remember, Christian Hamer was supposed to fight Dave Allen, pulled out because of COVID. Has fought Tyson Fury in the past. I was at that fight. That was the same card as Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr., I believe. Yeah, I think it was. So let's see what Tony Yoka can do. Yoka needs to have a good 2021, man. He needs to get into this conversation. For example, if Dubois beats Joyce or if Joyce beats Dubois, they're going to start to go into that kind of, okay, who can they mix it in the top 10 conversation? Tony Yoka needs to be there as well because I think he's a brilliant boxer. I really do. Any other little bits and bobs that we can maybe... De La Hoya is talking about his comeback again. He's talking about fighting Golovkin. Alright, Alexander Usyk. I spoke to... I forgot his name now. He's a senior boxing editor and writer at Sky. We spoke on the phone yesterday, just talking about Alexander Usyk. That Alexander Usyk is not in any way, shape or form willing to step aside and let AJ fight Fury with his WBO belt. He wants that shot. He is the mandatory. I don't know what's going to happen. I can feel like the WBO, look, the WBO are never going to want to be put into a position where their belt is not part of this dream matchup. It will be the biggest fight, obviously, in this country. One of the biggest, if not the biggest heavyweight fight of all time in terms of numbers. In terms of star name and value, no, not for me, obviously not. I mean, no way. But in terms of numbers, like, why would you not want every other belt's going to be on the line, and the WBO are going to say, like, no, we have to stick by our mandatories. Look, rules, and I'm a stickler for rules. They should remove their belt and give Usyk his chance. But do you not want to be part of this? I mean, so I don't think Usyk's going to have a leg to stand on. I think the WBO are gonna just say, look, Usyk, you might have to wait on this one. But there's some great fights out there for Usyk. Usyk's now a pay-per-view guy. I think Usyk, I've said it already, Usyk Joseph Parker's a big fight. So look, and that funny thing is, no, neither of those guys are Brits, but I think Usyk Parker over here sells out. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it sells out the O2 Arena, and I think they'll chuck it on pay per view and it'll do decent numbers. I really do, especially if Parker looks good against who's he fighting, Junior Farr. I mean, I think it will do good numbers. I think Usyk's okay. It's all about that, isn't it? Really, he'll make that, and then maybe the WBO can promise him that he'll fight the winner of Fury Joshua. Maybe, who knows, right? Demetrius Andrade, Liam Williams, probable for February in Providence, says Hearn. Can't see why not, right? Demetrius Andrade's opponent fell out. I think he was supposed to fight. He could be wrong here, but he might have been supposed to fight. That is not even English, is it? He was supposed to fight recently. I'm thinking, was it on this Rosado Jacobs card? Don't know. But his opponent fell out, couldn't make weight or some rubbish. Liam Williams is obviously his mandatory. He's been begging for the shot, so why not? I don't know why we have to say probable. Just announce it. Just make it. Give Liam Williams his chance. Give him his chance. And look, I can understand Andrade. You're hearing the name Liam Williams, especially when you consider all the other names at 160, 168. It's just like, why? Honestly, it's like, oh, God. But it's your mandatory. That's how it works, you know? That's how it works. You beat Liam Williams, you still got a good chance of having a couple of fights against known names in 2021. All right, let's wrap up here. Okay. All right. Oh, interesting. A couple of bits here before we go. Ryan Garcia, confident. He says, I'm 100% sure that stop Luke Campbell in 3. Who knows, right? You know me in predictions. I'm fucking all over the place. I don't know about that, though. It's a bit of a bold one, that. I mean, look, if he does, it's a statement, right? I mean, the fighters out here are making statements. Fighters in and around his weight class, apart from Devin Haney, I don't think he made a statement at all. In fact, I think his stock went down a bit. But he got the win against Gamboa, but obviously Teofimo made a statement, right? Big statement. Javante made a statement in the way in which he stopped Leo Santa Cruz. I think Leo was doing well, but then he shows why he's called the tank, right? That punch, that uppercut was just nasty. So look, if he beats Luke Campbell, who I think is very much serviceable, I think Luke Campbell's still got a lot to offer in 3, then who knows? I'm not sure about that. Bold prediction, we'll see. Angel Garcia, I don't want to hear no bullcrap when Danny beats Spence. So you're going to hear it, aren't you, though? You're going to hear it. If Danny Garcia, and this is a shame on Danny, but if Danny Garcia were to beat Errol Spence, fact, we're all going to talk about Errol not recovering properly from the car accident. It's just going to happen. I mean, I've seen Errol. He looks in fantastic shape. You listen to him in interviews, he sounds upbeat. Everything seems fine, but we don't know until he gets in the ring. We don't know. I mean, we all saw the images of that Ferrari flipping. How this guy is not paralyzed, how he is not dead, I do not know. So I guess if Danny does beat him, we are going to ask those questions. But I get what Angel's saying. We shouldn't, because everyone now is saying he's fine. The doctors are saying he's fine. Everyone around him saying he's fine. He should be fine, but people are going to say it. Last thing here. Teofimo Lopez eyeing $5 million spring return to fight at Madison Square Garden. Okay, let's see what, who he's going to fight. I do wonder who he's going to fight. I mean, $5 million return. I mean, you got to fight someone of note, right? And It's not going to be any of those guys I just mentioned. So it's not going to be Devin. It's not going to be Ryan. It's not going to be Javonte. It's not going to be any of those guys. I don't think a spring return is enough time for Loma to heal. I mean, if you saw Loma's surgery, I'm sure all of you guys saw all those pins in his shoulder. I don't think that's going to happen. But if there is enough time for Loma to recover, I still wouldn't mind seeing the rematch with fans. I really wouldn't mind. I think Loma's a showman and he requires some fans. And I think he deserves an opportunity to get his belts back. I'm one of those people. If you have collected all these belts, to lose them just like that, give an opportunity. I mean, again, I had that fight. I can't remember. What did I say? I had that fight 7-5, 8-4. It wasn't like it was a blowout. So yeah, give him an opportunity. But if not, I do wonder if he might go up to 140, Teofimo, and have a fight at 140 against someone of note up there. We'll see, right? We'll see. But look, he's put himself in a position where he can talk about $5 million paychecks now because he took the risk, rolled the dice, his numbers came up. Peace.